If your ink's too slow and your nib won't flow, here's one of the places that you can go. Larry is here to see you through with Mr. Announcer and Cubby too. It's Larry's Fountain Pen Reviews.
Well, hello folks, Larry here, and welcome to my Zoom Pen Hangout. And my special guest today is Mike Green. I've had him on several times before, but I thought I'd bring him on again so you can see that wonderful smiling pen face of his. So I want to talk to you a little bit about Mike, about what he does and why he does it. It's a special reason why Mike makes pens, not because he has to. He has a full-time job. He does this on his spare time, like a hobby. Mike had a vision. He had a dream that one day he'd like to start making some nice looking pens that when a customer buys these pens, they're going to be proud of that pen. And you have to be proud of that pen. And also, at no cost to the customer, he threw in, are you ready? The nibs will be tuned no other than Kirk Spears. So when you get your pen, it's going to be ready to go. And I believe he's going to send a couple of cartridges ready just in case you want to ink it up there. So Mike's been doing this for 13 months, and we've had one heck of a fun ride because I'm serious. Mike is the kind of guy with the enthusiasm and the love to make a creation that people will be proud of because, you know, his name's on this. So whatever you order, he wants you to make sure that you're happy with the pen. And I have to stand behind it and say, you will, because I own a few. So, with that said, how much is the price? At an already affordable price, they start anywhere from $150 to $170. You can get them no clip. You can get them with a roll stop. You can get them with a clip, either a chrome clip or a rose gold clip, whatever he has in stock. Well, I'll let him talk to you about nibs. Mike can do about anything. Mike has done one astonishing job. You know, when I first met him, I thought it was going to take him a couple of years before he is where he is now. But now Mike, when Mike gets it in his head, he's going to figure it out, and boom, he's here. So I'm going to let Mike talk a little about it. And Mike, I'd like you to start talking to him about the nibs. Thank you.
Sure. Well, I mean, ultimately what it comes down to when you have a pen, regardless of the material that the pen itself is made out of, or the shape, or whether it has a clip or whatever, ultimately the biggest thing that you're going to see is the thing that really matters to you is the nib. What writes on the paper. Oh, good. For a moment I thought I might have had ink in this pen. It doesn't have ink in it. But so what really matters is the nib, how it writes, how it performs when it touches the paper, and that little surface does everything. And as Larry mentioned, I started making pens just a year ago, and I was buying this. I buy the same nibs everybody else does. I use either Bach or Jovo number 6s, which are, that's a pretty normal nib to use. All of us use them. They're nice nibs, but occasionally you get a clinker in there, and it's not quite, doesn't perform quite the way it is, and that's just the nature of mass production. And so, and they're producing affordable nibs that everybody can use. So I decided after I'd been screening them and looking at them for a while, I decided I just wanted a higher quality nib for my pens so that they always perform well when you start with them. So I went to the Chicago Pen Show last year, and I met Kirk Spear and of Penrome, and I was quite impressed with his abilities. And after some further thought, I decided to ask him, and he has agreed to tune all of the nibs that I use in my pens. So every nib you get, even, you know, they're not really, you know, like this one here, it's a gold-plated steel nib. You know, it's a, you know, a pretty mundane nib, but it has been hand-tuned by Kirk Spear. So this is going to perform really well right out of the box, all right? And all of my nibs are like that. So it gives me a great deal of peace of mind, because I like my pens to be really, you know, good quality pens. I want them to behave the way I want a pen to work. Ultimately that's what it comes down to. I'm making pens the way I want them to be, and I just, you know, we've all done that. We've all bought a pen, and you get it out of the box, and it can be quite an expensive pen. You know, I mean, like, you can spend $1,000 on a pen, get it out of the box, and the nib is a disappointment. You know, it could be, you know, a 18 karat gold nib, you know, really expensive nib material wise, and how much it cost to make. It could have really nice engraving and all this, you know, all these bells and whistles. But ultimately, if that little tip isn't doing the right thing when it touches the paper, if the tines aren't perfectly aligned, if they aren't shaped and smooth the right way, the right amount, the pen will just be a disappointment. And so I don't want my pens to do that. So I made the decision to go ahead and just all of my pens are going to be tuned. All the nibs are tuned. And in fact, I was just before we started, I was clearing off my desk here, and here I have a package from Mr. Spear, this is a box of nibs from him. So I just got a brand new set of goodies here from Mr. Spear that are, you know, tuned nibs. All of them are tuned. So, and they'll be going on my pens. And when you buy a pen from me, you can pretty well count on that it's going to be a nice experience. That's important to me. That's what I would want. It doesn't cost me, you know, it doesn't cost me that much to do that. Kirk doesn't charge that much for it. It's really worthwhile. It's money really well spent for me, because I know I'm not going to have to worry about how the nib's right. So anyway, so let's move on. Should we move on to pens? Or actually, here, let's talk about shows for a moment, really quick.
Well, first of all,
them.
You can find Mike at Mike Pen Fun.
Well, yeah, here, we'll do that. Oops, I know, Jake, you can put this on the show notes.
There you go.
I'll hold up one of my cards if I can figure out how to hold it in front of the camera.
There you go.
There you go. You know, here's my email, my web address, my website for the pens, my Instagram. There you go, right there. All right, and you know, probably the best bet, if you're up to it, is the Instagram. If you're on the Instagram, I'll post things every few days. Sometimes I'm not the most well-connected electronical kind of guy, but I do post things as things happen a lot of times. Like when I finish a pen, I'll put it on the Instagram. I'll also add it to my website. I have a photo gallery of pens on the website. But if you want to interact with me, probably the best way is either go to the website and click on the contact button at the bottom of the page, or go to Instagram and send me a message on Instagram. If you can figure out how to do either of those, great. Otherwise, you've got my email address. If you can do email, and right at the top there, for some of us old fogies, we won't mention your names, there's a phone number. You can even call me on the phone, or you can text me, or there is that thing with the phone where you spin the little dial and whatever. Okay, so there you go.
Now,
that's the contact information.
I have been posting on Instagram a lot of my pens, and I will be doing more this week as well. I'm excited about it because Mike is really putting out some quality fountain pens at an affordable price. And I'm not just trying to tell the people this so they can buy your pens. They can buy from whoever they wish to. It's their money, you know. But, you know, when I see a good looking pen that I like, the color I like, and the shape that I like, the way I like it, and it writes the way I want it, it's affordable in the story. You know, what gets me, I think, really, Mike, is you're a pen maker. You're not a Pelican pen maker. You're not a Pilot. You're not a Visconti. You're none of that. You're your own individual self, like other custom pen makers, right? So I think everybody could use some custom pens in their collection. If you're a pen enthusiast, Yes. So, Mike, do you have any pens that you're working on that you would like to share?
Sure. Yes, yes, I do have some pens. Let's see. As I was going to mention a moment, I was going to say I was at the Chicago Pen Show, and by the way, that's another thing. I know you did mention it, but I was at the Chicago Pen Show last month, and that was really nice. I mean, not everybody can make it to like a pen show, but it's nice in that I'm just a person making pens. You can't go to a store and see these, and you can't put your hands on them, which makes it very difficult. I find the same thing when I'm buying a pen. I want to actually, put my hands on it. I'd like to, ideally, like if I go to a store, I would like to be able to get some ink on the pen and write on a piece of paper and see how it feels. And that's of course really hard to do with Instagram and websites and things like that. So I've just started going to pen shows. I went to the Chicago Pen Show a month ago, and I talked to a lot of people about pens, and you find people that have been doing, they come up and they've bought, hundreds of custom pens or whatever. They bought all sorts of custom pens. A year ago, I had never bought a custom pen. I bought a couple custom pens just, out of the blue, and I enjoyed them a lot. I bought a couple more since then. And of course, now I started making them. But so it's really hard to get much information about the pens, like this pen here. This is a new pen that I made. And it's hard to really know much about it. You can't go onto a website and see a review like you can say, like of a Pilot, 912. You can go get all sorts of reviews of Pilot 912s. You can get all sorts of information. And I know that. So you can't really get much information about this pen. So you can look at the pictures and the videos I put on the website and on Instagram and get some better ideas. But don't be shy. If you have any questions, and I've gotten several actually really good questions from people, some people that are really, and you don't have to be like some super connoisseur expert, okay? Because I'm in the same boat you are. I'm a new guy. I'm not like some guy up in the clouds or whatever. I'm just a regular guy. And so if you've got some basic questions, like I had one person ask a question, it was a really good question. They said, well, how do you fill one of your pens? And that's a really good question, and part of it, of course, is what kind of filling system do they have? And my pens are what are called cartridge converters. Now, for you guys that are all the sophisticated experts, this is all old ground, and you know all this. But these are called cartridge converters, and I start with a cartridge converter. In this case, this is a converter which has a little piston that moves up and down, and you put the nib unit here into a bottle of ink, and you draw it back up by twisting it like this, and that just draws the ink up into the converter. And then you put this back on. You might want to dab, brush the ink, bottle. And there's lots of videos about how to fill pens. I'm not going to try to duplicate all that, but it's very easy to deal with these pens. But if you have some questions about one of the pens or any of my pens, don't, email me. I love talking about pens. I can talk about pens all day long. Hopefully we've got a couple hours of tape here or whatever buffer to store this video, right? I'll go on for a long time. But anyway, so here's some new pens I've made. I was at the Chicago Pen Show, and I ran into a lot of very good people. And among them, I ran into a couple people from Atlas Supplies, and they gave me a couple samples of their materials. This is a crazy fiber, they call it. It's in green and white. Very interesting material. And they gave me a sample of their Juma material and their dragon material. Very interesting. This is a golden dragon. And so I've made some pens out of these materials, and I like these materials a lot. I mean, I went and bought some more of the dragon materials. Here's what they look like when this is what the materials look like when I buy them. It's just a long rod like that. And I cut it into pieces, and then I machine it and do all sorts of things to make it into the pieces of the pen. But here's the raw material. It hasn't been shined up or anything or shaped, but you can kind of get a feel for. You can at least see what colors they are. The bottom one is another golden dragon. There's a blue one there. There's a pink one and a red one. And I will post pictures of, even when I get raw blanks like this, I'll post these on my Instagram as well. And so you get an idea of what's coming. All right. Now, I know some people are so anxious that they would go ahead and just say, boy, I really like that one. I want this to be a pen. So I want a pen made out of this. We won't mention any names, but some people will pick out one of these right away. So there's those. So I made those 2 pens, and I've also, since the show, I've made 3 more pens here. These are all Alumilite pens, and I think they came out really well. These are kind of, I kind of like the large chunky style like this. I can make lots of different styles. So I do like this. This one here is called Joker's Joker. It's the name of the material. It's kind of a Joker, like the Batman Joker.
Yes.
And that is, it's a gorgeous material, And you can get slightly, of course, you can get better pictures and videos on my Instagram. But one of the things that's distinctive about this is that one of the reasons that it's a little bit bigger than some of my other pens, here's a more petite, this is an Ebonite pen that I made with a clip and all that. And you can see this is just the barrel, and it's as big as the other pen is, even with its cap. So this one's big because what I did is I've made it capable of taking the TWSBI converters. I'm always experimenting with new things. And so with a TWSBI converter, it's a much bigger converter. And this is the same converter that they use in their Swipe pen. It's a new pen that TWSBI makes. And they've started making cartridge converter pens. And so this will hold twice as much ink as a normal international cartridge. And so, of course, consequently, the pen itself is bigger too. So I'm experimenting with things like this and trying new things. So this is one of the things I myself have I have more of a ink attention deficit disorder. I want to switch inks too often. So I don't generally go for pens with large capacities. But for people who like large capacities, you can get twice as much ink into a pen like this versus these others. I want bad. Here's an Ebonite pen if you like Ebonite.
That's beautiful.
And this one is a green and black one. Okay, it's hard to see the green. It swirls through the black here. And so at first look, first glance at a distance, it looks, that's a nice little black pen. But if you get close and look at it, there's a green swirl in it. And again, we have a nice number 6 nib. And now, as I was saying before, this has the standard international cartridge, and you can or our converter rather. And it doesn't have quite the ink capacity of the other one, but of course the pen's smaller. I've been told, I didn't consciously do it, but at the show, the Chicago show, I basically started out with, I want kind of a classical, a nice taper, kind of a cigar-shaped taper here. I wanted it kind of rounded here, and it wasn't a conscious thing, but people have told me that this looks very much like a Skyline pen.
Like a what?
A Skyline, made by, I lost the manufacturer. But there's a classic pen that was made, back in the 40s called the Skyline.
Right.
And this outline, this shape is very reminiscent of it. It's not the exact same thing, of course, but the basic idea of the shape is very close to that. I wanted a really classical looking pen because Ebonite is a very classical material. It was used a lot back mainly like in the early 20th century for pens. It hasn't been used as much lately, but it is a classic material to make a fountain pen out. So I figured that it needed a classical shape. So I made this pen like this and it is classical shape. I also have one here in red and black. Again, it's hard necessarily to see it in this light.
Oh, it's pretty.
It is a gorgeous pen.
Oh.
This will write really well. And here's what they call now this is a slightly different pattern of the Ebonite, and it swirls a lot nicer, or differently, I should say, than the other ones do. So you can see there's a swirl that even goes through the tip of the pen, top of the pen. So a cool swirl to it. So as you can see, I'm just having a lot of fun with my pens. All right. So what else do you want to hear?
Well, so what are you going to be taking to the next show?
I'll be taking all of these. Well, I should say this pen here, I was saying I just made these 3. I just finished these 3 days ago on Monday night. I finished these 3. This one is sold, and it will be going on its way to its new home in the morning. It'll be hitting the mail. And this diamond cast pen also is sold. It'll be hitting the mail in the morning as well. This is, again, diamond cast. It actually has diamond in the material of the pen. This is a red pen. And I know Larry likes red pens, so waving this around in front of him. But it's sold and gone. Sorry. It'll be in the mail. But so those two pens are going to be gone. But all the other ones I've shown you are going to be at the show, assuming somebody hasn't sold them or hasn't bought them rather before the show. All of these pens will be at the show. These 4 pens, the dragon pens that I mentioned, this dragon material from Atlas Supplies, these will all, well, the red one is sold, right? So the blue, pink, and golden one will be at the show. Of course, there'll be pens at that point. And I have a fair amount of stock in place already. I've got all of these pens. These will be at the show.
All right, yeah.
Right. I have, here's another batch of pens that will be at the show. All of these will be at the show. Larry mentioned roll stops. I've got this pen here on the end. This is a pen with a roll stop. For those of you who are musically
okay.
recognize that symbol. That is the symbol of the artist formerly known as Prince, and so on a purple pen. That's pretty light, reasonable, I think, for that symbol. And then we have another set of pens here. All of these will be available too. And anything I can make before the June show that, of course, doesn't sell. If someone buys them through Instagram or website, I'll be showing them as I make them. And when they get made, if you like it, you can buy it. So I have a bit of I'd like to have hundreds of pens, but I don't have that many.
So, folks, there you have it in a nutshell. Now, if you're interested, you can order now as well, and Mike will get that pen to you. He will make it, I guess, isn't it right? If it's something you want special, you can make it for him, right?
Right. Well, for example, I showed these samples, these blanks. Someone saw the red one and said, "I want it made this way, so I'm going to make that pen this way," for them. And so again, if you're like if you say, well, like for this pen, you go, well, I like that pen, but I have to have a clip, so I can make another one with a clip, And well, I like that pen, but and again, for people who are really connoisseurs, this is this size here. This is a 15 millimeter pen, which is a nice chunky pen. It fits my hand really well. But maybe your hand is smaller. You'd say, well, no, I want a smaller pen. So I can make pens different sizes. I can make them thinner. This is a 13 millimeter pen, which is a more much smaller pen, and it may fit your hand better. And that's part of the game with all these things, with the custom pens. When you buy a pen, like again, I'll pick on Pilot. I like Pilot a lot, so I'll pick on them. If you buy a Pilot 912, I mean, you're going to get a Pilot 912, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if it turns out you go, well, I really didn't want the clip, or I really would have liked if the grip section had been a little bit bigger, Pilot's not going to change that for you. But I will change my pens for you. I mean, you'll go, well, this one's a good start, but I want something a little different. I can make that a little different. And I also have a couple boxes of blanks, not these particular ones, but things like this that are different colors, lots of different patterns. And we can certainly go through those and see if you can find something you like. The person who bought this pen picked it out, not this one. Oh, shoot, where's the other pen? Oh, there it is, here. This other pen is sold too. That's why it wasn't in the box. Someone saw this pen on the site and said, "This looks like my goldfish. I want this pen." It's the same coloring as my goldfish, so they're looking at buying this pen. Well, they're thinking about it at this point. They haven't bought it yet. I wouldn't. If you talk to me about, I wouldn't let you until they tell me whether they want to go or not. I won't let you buy this pen because they're thinking about it. So I'm going to let them I'll give them a few days to think about it. So this pen is not available either. But I've got a fair number of pens, a fair number of colors, and I can make more. So that's short of it.
So, Mike, Any last words before we go today?
Well, whatever pens you choose to use, enjoy them. Write your friends, correspond with, write letters. And by the way, I'm not doing a very good job of keeping up with my correspondence. I'll fix that, I promise. All my pen pals out there, I will catch up. Sorry. But
So,
yeah, have fun with your pens.
So yeah, leave your comments below, and send Mike some of your comments. Tell him what you're interested in. Tell him what you like. He would love to hear from you. He'd love to hear your comments as well. And I hope everybody got something out of this video, because when I do a video, it's not a put on. I'm going to give you an honest review of what I think. No, I'm not going to dog anybody, but I'm going to tell you what I like about the pen, or what I don't like so much about the pen. But remember, we all are different. I have my different opinions. You have yours. But other than that, what you see here is what you're going to get. You're going to get an awesome fountain pen. And before we go, you want to say anything, Mike?
No, I think we've got it. You did good, Larry. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Till next time, we'll meet up again. Peace out, my brother. Take care. Bye-bye.